Hey people, Rio Wolfhard here. Today I want to talk about my favorite home practice amps, and specifically tube amps. I know there's great modeling stuff and I do like the digital world. I use that every day. It's 2023 and I think everybody uses amp modelers or amp profiles or all that digital stuff. It's great. But there's something about tube amps, being in the same room with your tube amp, feeling that air being pushed in your direction, feeling that volume, having that beautiful thing right next to you. It's something that you have to get with all your senses, and something just really beautiful, and that cannot be emulated by anything digital, because even if you have a really good sound coming out of your studio monitors or on your headphones, it's not ever going to be the same experience as being in the same room with a really good tube amp, or just with a tube amp that you really have a lot of fun with. So I'm just going to talk about the tube amps that I've been using that have been fun for me to play. And I'm going to save up the best of all the 4 amps that I'm going to talk about for the last one. And that last amp is really a killer amp. So be sure to watch my video till the very end. And leave a comment, put a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate that. Without further ado, let's go ahead. Here's my first amp. Yeah, first amp on my list right here, the good old Fender Hot Rod Deluxe. It's a 40 watt tube amp, which means this amp can actually get really loud. I've used this live on stage, and I can tell you, you're not going to have a problem with volume when it comes to keeping up with the rest of the band. But the cool thing, it has a master volume that really works kind of well. Like, I don't have it turned up much at all right now, because I don't want to blast my ears out, and it already sounds pretty full and rich and just fun to play. So I guess this is like in the Fender line, this amp is a little bit underrated. It's pretty affordable, it's under $1,000. You get a combo amp with a speaker in it, and it's a 2-channel amp, so you have a clean channel, which I can demonstrate as well. So this, you can also get that all with a foot switch, by the way. Like, I know it's not really clean, but for me it's clean. This amp really works with pedals as well, and put on some fuzz. See how nice it takes that overdrive pedal. Like, that's a BB preamp, and it just sounds really good with that clean channel. So basically, you wouldn't even need the drive channel. You could just use your pedal board and use this as a pedal platform amp, because it has a cool clean channel, has a spring reverb, it has an effects loop. As I said, it's got a master volume. Like, this amp pretty much has all the things that you need. You get a foot switch so you can switch the channels. What else? Yeah, you can add an additional speaker if you need to. It's got an extension out at the back. And so, you know, it grants you all the wishes. Grants you all your wishes. It's a really cool amp. Let's check out the next one I got on my list. Yeah, people, man, I love this one here. This is the next one on my list, the Vox AC15. It's a hand-wired one. This one's a little bit more expensive, I guess, than the Fender Deluxe. I don't really know. You would have to look up the price. I forgot how much this costs. But I guess like around $1,000 or something. This one doesn't nearly have as much features as the Fender Deluxe that I showed before. It does not have a reverb. It doesn't have any built-in effects, actually. You can't switch the channels with a button or with a, with a stomp box or something. It does, and that's the cool thing, have a master volume, or you can choose with this little switch right here not to use the master volume, which I sometimes do. And it has another cool feature. You can reduce the 15 watts and split that down to 7.5 watts. So that's going to make the amp even more quiet. I mean, the 15 watts, I'm going to tell you the truth, going to be really loud. And the 7 watts, that makes a big difference. Like splitting those 15 watts to 7.5 watts, it actually makes a big difference. And I'm saying that because on a 100 watt Marshall, splitting it down to 15 watts is, volume wise, it's going to make a difference, but it's still going to be so loud that basically it doesn't make a difference from the volume that you feel, It's going to make it, obviously it's going to make a difference, but you know what I hope you know what I'm trying to tell you. But the features that this amp doesn't have, it really makes it up with the sound. I think sound-wise, for me, this is much more fun to play than the Fender. It does have kind of like a clean channel and a drive channel, just like the Fender. But you need to put your... So basically, this got 4 holes and like an old Plexi Marshall. And so you would have to switch and put your guitar cable into the first hole, into the first input, which then would be the normal channel. And right now I'm in the top boost channel. The top boost channel, you can boost that right here with the hot mode, I guess that's called. This just gives you more drive. So this is without the... We're already pretty nice and chunky. Man, just listen to how nice that brilliance. I mean, that's what Vox amps are all famous for. It's just that chime, that brilliance. And now you can boost it right here. Actually, it brings you into this high gain territory already, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely high gain once you turn on that thing. So, yeah, doesn't give you as much options as the Fender, but the cool thing is you can attenuate it by reducing the wattage. It does have a master volume. It's just so much fun to play. It is also a very good pedal platform. Let me plug into the normal channel right here. It's darker. It's gonna be a whole lot darker. Like that's normal for Vox amps. And by the way, that's the Odin fuzz. Man, I love that fuzz pedal. I love it! Yeah, let's go to the next amp on my list. Next one on my list right here, the Vox AC30. And I know what you're gonna think, man. This is not a small amp anymore. We're getting in the range of the big amps, but I still use this one as a home practice amp because it's still not huge. It's still not a full stack or even a half stack. In fact, it's more like a quarter stack, I would say. And I got the version where you have the speaker and the head, but I used to have just a combo version, and then this would be even smaller. It would take even less space, and yeah, and the combo version is cool. It's basically the same thing as this one, only that this one is obviously split into head and speaker. But yeah, it's a great practice amp because I think all Voxes are great practice amps because they are just so cool pedal platforms. Like right now, I got it dialed in so I have a little bit of breakup. Not too much, it's not high gain, and you can't even go high gain on this amp. It's got some features built in, not like the Vox AC15 that had like basically nothing except just being an amplifier. This one has some reverb. Where is it? Here is it. You know, it's a really nice reverb, right? It's got a tremolo. But that's not important, you know. Those features, you can get those features with your pedals, right? It's not really that important. I turn them off almost always. The important thing on the newer Vox AC30s is you can also attenuate your volume. So you can get it down to 3 watts and even more to 1/3 of a watt, which makes this amp very, very bedroom friendly. If you're in the middle of the night, you can go down to 1/3 of a watt or something like that. And it's going to be, honestly, it's going to be too quiet. Like probably you're going to go down to 3 watts and then just use the master volume. The master volume works okay, you know. It's a good master volume. It's not the best master volume, but it's good. It does its job. Obviously, if you crank that amp, it's going to give you that tube amp saturation. Like you're not going to get that obviously when you're just practicing at home, but you can kind of compensate by just using some good pedals that just mimic that a little bit. And listen to how that brilliance and that chime. I mean, that's just wonderful. Yeah, and the next benefit is, of course, you can take this on a stage. Like, there's absolutely no question. It's been done millions of times. So yeah, I guess let's see the last amp in my list for today. Yeah, as I told you, my favorite practice amp that I found out about, the Blue Guitar, and it doesn't matter, I got the Iridium edition, but it doesn't really matter which edition you get. You can get the Mercury edition, that's the one before this one, and Thomas Blug is putting out a new amp right now. It's the Amp X, and that amp is gonna be even more incredible. But I know what you're thinking right now, like, Rio, are you kidding me? That's just a little, like a Line 6 stomp box or something. No, guys. this is a true 100 watt tube amplifier. It doesn't have transformers in it, that's why it's so small, but it's still 100 watt true tube amplification. You can hook this up to a speaker box and it's going to be just as loud as a 100 watt Marshall amp. But the master volume is so good on this thing, you're not going to need an attenuator or anything. You can just work with that master volume, bring it down to whatever volume you wanna play at right now, and it's still going to sound just rich and full, as if it had a really nice tube saturation. And this is so versatile and it's just so much fun to play. Basically, I got it on my favorite channel right now. But all the channels are good, like I'm telling you, really. I got it on the classic one, and I got it set. You can tweak it on the side parties right here, which are kind of hidden for a good reason, because that's by design, because Thomas Bluk thought that if you use this live, like as a stomp box on your pedal board, you don't want these settings here to get messed up with your shoes, you know? So they're kind of hidden inside. Some people complain about that, but they just don't get it. You know, it's supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be hard to get to. So you set these at home the way you want it. I got the classic channel set, so it's like a really tweaked Marshall. It's like a Friedman or something. Like this right here, this sounds like a finished Marshall sound, as if there's and there's gate on here. You can EQ your setting. Cleans up really nicely. Get that woman tone. You can boost it here. I mean, listen to that fuzz. Never sounded that good with all these amps. You can have reverb on this thing. If I turn on the reverb, the gate that's built inside, that you can turn off if you want. I got it turned on normally. But if you turn on the reverb, the gate gets turned off, which only makes sense, you know? Really not, it's a digital reverb, but it sounds cool. It's got an effects loop. As I said, the volume works really, really good. The EQ is not like a passive EQ. It's like it's an active EQ, and it's, in fact, it works so good that if I turn all the settings to 0, see, there's no tone coming because because this EQ just works so effective. Now, if I open up the bass frequency, there's some bass coming. If I open up the mids, dial it into where I want it, dial in the treble. You know, that's German engineering. That's German engineering. If you want to change the channel, here's the modern channel. If you're not in metal, you can go to the vintage channel. Now it sounds a little bit more like a Silver Jubilee, or like a crank plexi or something. Might want to boost that one, the BB. Add some fuzz. Let's use another fuzz. Let's lose my C-Way. Oh, that's a nice one. Woo! Turn that off. With the flick of a switch, you're on a clean channel. Yeah, it's a really clean channel. Like for me, that's too clean. But that's only me. So yeah, people, I hope I didn't promise you too much. This is my favorite. This is my favorite tube amp when it comes to practicing, when it comes to playing live, and even for studio work. This thing has beaten my Marshalls for specific sounds. Like, of course, my Marshalls still have their sounds, they still have their value, and I'm still using them because I love them. But and it's not even that expensive. Of course, you're gonna need a speaker box if you want to practice in one room easily. There's not much that can go down on this. Like Thomas Beluk, the designer of this thing, told me that the tube inside here, it's basically gonna last several lifetimes, so don't have to worry about that. There's other parts that might go down before the tube goes down, but basically this is built to last forever. And then if it doesn't, Thomas Beluk has a really good service, customer service as well, so there should be no problem. People, I hope you liked this video. The conclusion is get an amp that you have fun with. And I don't really like those really small amps that, even that really small tube amps. I don't really like to practice too much with them because often they have these tiny little speakers, and I don't know, it's just, for me, it doesn't make that much sense to practice with something that just doesn't rock with you, that just doesn't give you that fun factor. I gave you the one that I enjoy the most. It's the Blue guitar. I do love all my amps. The Vox AC15, you know, it's something else to have like a big amp right here. It's a beautiful thing. I'm not trying to sell you anything here. It's just giving my experience that I've gathered over the years. And yeah, people, hope you liked this video. Leave a thumbs up, put some comments in the box. Let me know what you think about what's your favorite amp to practice with or to go on stage or in studio or whatever. And yeah, leave a description, and thanks for watching the video. See you next time.